Gaza. Well, the Israeli military told us a short time ago they believe they'd inflicted heavy damage on Hamas, but their military operations weren't over yet. Well, joining us here to give us an assessment is Captain Doron Spielman from the Israeli Defense Forces. Captain Doron, there's much talk of a third phase in your operations. We hear from the BBC's people inside Gaza that you're moving deeper into Gaza City. Is this the preamble to going basically to a more intensive operations in Gaza City itself?
The intensity of the conflict hasn't really made any great change thus far, but we have moved forward with our objectives. I just received a report a few minutes ago that we managed 50 targets today by the Israeli Air Force, including a number of tunnels. We destroyed 60% of the tunnels, which are bringing the supply of bombs and weapons into the Gaza Strip. At the same time, last night we took out 30 terrorist operatives, which were ID'd. So while there's not a pickup in the intensity, we are moving closer to our goals of trying to end the attacks on the Israeli civilian population.
And this is an operation where your forces will press on no matter what the humanitarian cost is. You know, concern is mounting worldwide about the price that civilians are paying.
The initial reason why we came into this, of course, is because of the humanitarian situation in Israel. There are 1 million people in the range of rocket fire, and while we reach out to the citizens of Gaza, just today 100 humanitarian aid trucks went through. We call on the international community to look at Hamas. While they are firing rockets at us from civilian areas, their leadership are hiding safely underground. And this is a situation which is untenable for Israel and untenable for the Palestinian people.
But untenable for the United Nations and other aid agencies. The IDF has admitted that one of its missiles inadvertently hit one of the schools where refugees were seeking shelter, and we've just spoken to a number of church officials here at the border who say that one of their clinics was hit and there was nobody inside.
But regarding the church, we do not have any formal report. They're welcome to issue a report. Working with the international aid agencies is extremely important to us. As I said, 100 trucks of humanitarian aid crossed from Israel into Gaza today. In the history of modern conflict, can we imagine that the person being attacked, in this case Israel, is supplying humanitarian aid to the other side? But the whole challenge with this conflict is who is a terrorist and who is a civilian. We have to protect the Israeli population while trying to pinpoint terrorists who are hiding behind Palestinian civilians. That's the challenge. We're doing, I think, probably the most commendable job that can be imaginable.
Well, you say 100 trucks, and they certainly are welcomed, but before this crisis began, go back 18 months before the siege, before the closure of Gaza started, 500 trucks crossed every day, and there wasn't a war on. So what about the call for you to open more crossings and not just depending on one?
We're trying, of course. We see that every day when we've allowed trucks to cross over. The situation has been taken advantage of by Hamas. They've shot mortars at us and rockets during every single pause in our fighting. So while we would like to bring more aid into Gaza, Hamas are continually using these moments to take advantage of Israel and advantage of the international community. When this stops, when Hamas lays down its weapons, when they stop using civilians as human aid, we of course will do our best to bring more aid to the civilians in Gaza.
Captain Doron Spielman, thank you very much for joining us. And there you have a robust assessment of Israel's objectives in this campaign. We had that strong message from Ban Ki-moon, the UN Secretary General, saying his message was clear and simple: stop now. But the message certainly isn't getting across to either Hamas or to the Israeli military. They both seem determined to press on. That's all from us here at the border for now. Back to you in London.